positive energy all the time. Here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope your day is going smooth. It's the weekend, although I know many of us still have to work. But hopefully your day is going great. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and support the channel. And you know how we do. Rep your city. Rep your city to everybody on Kick, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I am representing Chi-Town. We got Atlanta in the building. We got Baltimore in the building. Rep your city, rep your city. We got someone representing Trinidad in the building. I'm not sure what city in Trinidad. We got San Jose in the building. Yes, indeed. Well, here we go with another interesting conversation. As you know, I'll be all over the place with my conversations. You just never know what I'm going to talk about. And today I'm going to talk about gangsters and hustlers. Gangster versus hustler. We're going to talk about that. Much respect, always love. We're going to talk about gangsters versus hustlers. Oof, right? Shout out to all the gangsters all around the world, especially if you're not hurting civilians. You're not supposed to hurt civilians. And shout out to all the hustlers around the world. As long as you're not scamming. Scamming is not hustling. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Between the two, you want to be a hustler. Okay? That's what you want to be. A hustler doesn't mean crime. You want to be a hustler. That's what you want to be. All of you are. You want to be a hustler. Hustler means hustle, hustle, hustle. Your living conditions are a little funny. You got a job, but the money they paying you, you can't do what you want to do. Okay, get a part-time job. You got to go hustle. Go hustle. Cut hair. Do hair. Do nails. Get a weekend job. That's hustling. A lot of people don't know that. That's hustling. You're moving, right? All right, so he's in Champs Fleers. That's the area that he's in. So you want to hustle. Hustle, 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 hustle. Some hustling is illegal, and that's fine as long as you're not hurting anyone, and as long as you're willing to pay the cost to be the boss. Don't go out here and do no illegal hustling. You and your friends, or you and an associate, and then you get caught, and then you tell on them. Why are you telling on them? You know, take it like a man, take it like a woman, and do your time. Now, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. It's real simple. We got Richmond in the building. Salute, salute, my brother. So you always want to hustle. My father was a bona fide hustler. My father drove the CTA bus. My father was a bus driver, and he was a hustler. My father, on the weekends, he would go and build porches. Being a bus driver, there's thousands and thousands of men work, Chicago, thousands of men just at his station alone. He worked over there off of 79th Street, 77th and Vincia, CTA, 79th and Vincia. Originally like 77th, then they built a new station. And my daddy was a straight hustler. And so he worked with a lot of men, so he was a good carpenter. So on the weekend, he would go and build porches for him or rebuild porches for him, tear the old porch down, build a new porch. He would take me with him. I'm like freshman, sophomore. If it's a big porch, we take Saturday and Sunday to get it done. I make $600, $800. So fortunate. So fortunate in 1972, 1972, 1973 for a kid. $800 is a fortune. $600. A small porch you might give me 400. That's a lot of money for a kid. Once the buses went on strike, at the end of the block for where we was at, they had a factory that made sinks and stuff like that, kitchen sinks. And he went there and worked there until the strike was over. And he would go take his big Cadillac. When the bus was on strike, people couldn't get home. So my daddy would take his Cadillac and go drive his bus route because driving the bus was so long. He knows all those people. They almost like family. So he knows what time all those ladies get off work, all the men get off work, and they know him because they get on his bus every day because they're on the schedule. They get off work, he pull up. Bus is on schedule, they're on the work schedule. So my father would go drive by where they work at and pick them up, take them home. So he had plenty of money during the strike. One time he told me he was driving. It was a guy, and he pulled over, and they got in the car. He said it was two men. One of them had a briefcase. And he said, "Take me here." He said he knew they was doing something illegal, and he took him. They gave him a whole lot of money for that ride. So he was awesome. You can't be lazy if you're going through a bad situation economically. You don't need to crying about it. Get your butt out there and hustle. Now I'm going to talk the difference between a gangster and a hustler because I am not a gangster. I'm a hustler. And hustlers don't mean cheating people, like hustle you out or something. That's a con man. Okay. So if you're running scams, it's not a hustler, it's a con man. Hustlers are fair and square. Or you don't hustlers don't cheat people. but they often get confused because some hustling is on the rough side of things. And so first, I want to say, because I got a lot of young kings and queens watching me, princes and princesses watching me. First thing I want to say, I want to start this off right. Listen, go to school. Go to school and graduate. Graduate out of high school. If you didn't, go back and get your GED. You need your diploma, you need your GED, and you need to graduate out of high school so you have some sense of accomplishment. School teaches you how to learn, and they don't tell you that. School don't really teach you math. School don't teach you spelling. School don't teach you science. School teaches you how to learn math, how to learn science, how to learn reading, how to learn. School teaches you how to learn. They don't tell the young people that. And so you need to finish high school so you can learn how to learn. And then after that, you can go get any books and teach yourself anything. Because school teaches you how to do that. School teaches you how to write a paper on the subject, how to go and get the encyclopedias or go on the internet and do your research. And that is the same research you're going to need if you want to start a business. You're going to have to know how to go and find out how to start a business. So you're learning how to start a business. You're learning what you need to do for the business. You're learning how to run the business. And school teaches you how to learn those things. So it wouldn't be fair to just come over here and talk about hustlers and gangsters without telling the young people, listen, finish high school, get your GED, and get really good grades in math, science, and English and reading. Because if you're not good at math, you're going to struggle in life. If you can't read well, you're going to struggle. And if you're not good at math, you're not going to do well because you're not going to be able to do the multiplication and adding and the division. So you're not going to know what you're doing. You're not going to know what your hourly wage adds up to. Then you're not going to know what your weekly or bi-weekly pay. You're not going to know what you can buy and what you can't buy because you don't know math. You don't know division or multiplication, so you don't know what you're doing. You're just out there willy-nilly. You don't know how much percentage of this check is going to get spent on bills. So how you going to make any money? Anybody tell you get in the streets and you get into illegal substances, your math increases. Because now you got to start dealing with grams, ounces, pounds, half pounds. You're not used to doing that. You have to learn that math real good. You have to know your numbers. What are you doing? How much you gonna make? How much you paying for this? How much you gonna get back? How much is your profit margin? So if you don't go to school and you start a beauty shop or you start a barber shop, whatever you start and you don't know math, you probably gonna go out of business because you don't know how much you need to make. You're not gonna know your expenses compared to your earnings. You ain't gonna know nothing. How you gonna make money if you don't know math? So that's the first thing. Go to school and make sure you get an A in math and make sure you can read well. You don't have to get an A in reading, but need to get a B. You need to be able to read well, and you need to be able to know how to do math well. And then the next thing you absolutely need is you need to know definitions of words. So you need to know that dictionary. I know people that just read the dictionary. When you ain't got nothing to do, just flick through the dictionary. Just flick through it. Sometimes buy a dictionary, go home, write down 12 words, give your children some small dictionaries, tell them go write the definition. Don't depend on the teachers to teach your children what they need to know because that's going to be important too. You got to know the definition of words. But you absolutely got to read well and you absolutely got to be able to have good comprehension skills and you absolutely have to be good at math. Because if you're good at math, you'll know how much your water bill, phone bill, internet bill, and all those bills and rent or mortgage, you'll know how much the total is. And then you know the total of your income. And then you know how much money you got left over. You'll know how much your groceries are going to cost you, how much gas you're going to be using a month. And you'll be able to budget. You'll be able to maintain. You won't just be in the dark going from paycheck to paycheck. Now, I'm a hustler. I was always good at math. And math was something I was just always good at. And by the time I got in the fifth grade, I'd be over at the park. I wanted to shoot dice like the big boys. So when I was growing up, we had three sets of boys at the park. We had the little boys when I was a little boy. So a little boy would be like the fifth grader. Then you had the big boys. Them would be like the ninth graders, 10th graders. And then we had the grown men. So up at the park, there would be three dice games. There'll be the little boys. We down there shooting quarters. It'll be the big boys. These are high school boys. They down there shooting for dollars. And then it'd be the pimps and the players and the hustlers. And they shooting for, 50s, hundreds, 20s. Their lowest bet is 20. But they mostly bet, big money, 50s, hundreds. So it'll be a dice game here with those little boys and a dice game there. And then a dice game over there with the hustlers and the players. Now, I ain't going to talk about the players today. I'm just going to talk about the gangsters and the hustlers. Now, the gangsters, you're looking at jail. You're looking at fed time and jail time. Because the gangsters, a gangster is heavily involved in illegal activities. A gangster is involved in any activities that make money. So the life of a gangster is not the way you want to go. Gangsters are around gangsters, so it's always dangerous. And you can't pretend you're a gangster because you might got to go to the pen. And we get to the penitentiary, you ain't gonna be able to pretend. You're gonna have to really be that. And so in the black community, we have a lot of schools for gangsters. We call them gangs. Gangs are gangsters without the stirs, right? You in a gang, stir. So a gang, being in a gang is a school that can lead you to being a hustler or a gangster. And gangsters do very horrible crimes that get them a lot of time bank robberies, embezzlements, anything. Very dark group of people. Not all of them. Some gangsters got some morals in their gangsterism, but gangsters be around gangsters, so you're around some of the slimiest, uh, non trustworthy people, untrustworthy. And so the young men and women don't be trying to be no gangster. The life of a gangster involves violence, jail, prison, and all types of crimes. Even when you're legal, a gangster is doing illegal acts, skimming the books and all this at their businesses. So young men, you don't want to be no gangster. Young women, you don't want to date no gangster. Now, some things that hustlers do put them in proximity to gangsters. And so when you're a hustler, you might have to do something that you would consider gangster, but you're not a gangster because when you don't have to do that, you just hustle. You don't turn into that and stay that. A gangster stays a gangster. But a hustler, if he have to do some gangster stuff, he going or she they gonna go back to just being a hustler. They're not gonna wallow in the life of a gangster. And so sometimes you'll see a hustler and you'll think it's a gangster. 50 Cent always been a hustler. But he was around gangsters growing up. But he was always a hustler. And they was always selling work. So that you know what I'm saying? They was always on the block selling. So he might have to do something gangster, but 50 was and is still a hustler. He's just a legal hustler, but he's definitely a hustler. He's always G Unity, this movie, this TV show, that. He's hustling. Rick Ross, even though he's damaging his rap image, Rick Ross is a hustler. So he said every day I'm hustling. He wasn't lying. He's got the car show coming up right now. Gonna pull in a lot of bread with people entering those cars. So you could be a hustler and be legal. You don't have to be an illegal hustler. And hustle is just the opposite of being lazy. You know, you play baseball and you're at practice and the coach hit the ball and they go over your head and you're running after what the coach say. Hustle, hustle, go get it, hurry up, throw it back. That's hustling. Hey, you can't walk and get the ball. The man's on first base. He's running the second. He's running the third. If you don't hurry up and get the ball, throw it, he's gonna run. He's gonna get a home run. Go get the ball and throw it so we can stop him at least at second base. Hustle. Come on, hustle. That's what they call Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle. So sports is hustling. The whole idea of sports is to hustle. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Let's go, let's go. You gotta hustle and play this defense. You gotta hustle and play this offense. You gotta hustle. Get back down the court. And you're making money doing it. And you got just a hoodlum. What they used to call a thug, a hoodlum. Not really a gangster. It's just a lowlife in the community. The hoodlum is usually matched up with the hood rat. Just a punk, basically, they used to call him. Just doing petty crimes, but still always broke. Lazy, so they'll do a crime and get the money and go sit on their butt and mess the money up, then come back out do another crime. They're not really trying to stack no money. They just like crime to crime. They just live from crime to crime. Usually can't speak well, can't present themselves well. Usually extra dumb. Probably got the knowledge of about maybe fourth or fifth grade. Can't read well. A loser. I thought this was important to talk about because sometimes people misidentify a hustler as a gangster because a lot of times a hustler have to have a weapon to protect themselves so they won't be victims of robberies and stuff like that. So they mix the two together. Much love to everybody in New Orleans. So a lot of times I want to talk about this because people mix up gangsters and hustlers all the time. It really doesn't pay to do both because when you do both, you're gonna get a RICO because you can't hustle and be violent. Those two don't mix. And if you're a hustler, you can't be too much of a socializer because you got to stick and move and stick and move. And socialize it means stand still, and you can't just bog down nowhere. And so if you got a job, you're trying to make some money, you're a hustler, and a lot of people fail because they try to They don't know they hustlers. They don't know you bought a brand new house. You got a car note, house note, and all your bills. And you trying to be a socializer instead of hustle. So they lose their homes, their houses going to foreclosure and all that because they want to be a socializer. Hustling and socializing, they don't they don't go together. Socializing is like going to the movies. Hustling is owning the movie theater and making sure it's stocked up with all the candy and everything. Make sure it's stocked all the way up. You don't run out of no popcorn or soda or nothing. You got a good location, your movie theater packed, and you there watching it. You don't got the employees there and you at home. No, you in your movie theater. The only time you at home is when the movie theater's closed. If you a hustler, you not playing. If you a hustler and you make a lot of money on the weekend, then you and your woman, y'all go to the movies on Monday and Tuesday. Y'all don't go to the movies. Y'all don't go on no dates on the good days, on the hustling days. So a hustler, usually when you see a hustler with a wife and they tight, that's a down queen right there. Yeah, you can't get no better than the wife or the girlfriend of a hustler that don't complain about the hustle. It's the best woman you can ever have in your life. Yeah, the best woman you can have in your life. If you got a your queen you a hustler and she down with the hustle. Because a lot of queens they pick the socializing over the money. So you need a woman that's gonna pick the money over the socializing every time. If you're a hustler, they already know how you function. They know everything that you all do is gonna be based on economics of when and where and what's the best economical time to go. And when you with a hustler, you with a it's a strange lady. So when you with a hustler, it's you're gonna have to just be down because real recognize real and hustlers recognize hustlers, and hustlers are not interested in being a part of somebody else's hustle. I'm a hustler by heart to the bone. So if you go out with me and you be with me, it's gonna be a little weird because wherever we go and wherever I take you, the first thing I'm gonna notice is how much money they making. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else, you go to the restaurant, you go in there, a regular dude, a slave, a worker, he gonna go in the restaurant, he gonna be like, it's nice, he gonna pull your chair out, ah, ah. But when I take you to a new restaurant and we go in there and it's packed, I'm gonna be like, yee, they making money up in here. You know, that's the first thing I'm gonna see is how much money are they making. I'm gonna still go in there and spend some money with them, but I'm just saying I'm not gonna see it like a regular person. I'm not gonna see it as a restaurant. I'm gonna see it as a business. You see what I'm saying? What's going on, April? I'm going to see it as a business. I'm not going to see nothing as whatever it is, no matter where we go. Everywhere we go, I never see it as somebody going somewhere. I always see it as a business. I'm always clocking their dollars. I'm always looking to see, is this a good investment? It's just a hustler's natural instinct. It's just, we wired different. We're not wired like a civilian. Because the basis of our economical mind is, how do you make money? And game recognize game. And when you go somewhere and they really hustling and they really getting it, a hustler, you're gonna be impressed. You know what I'm saying? You can be like, they getting paid up in here. That's what you're gonna say. It's the first thing you're gonna see. If you're a hustler, the first thing you're gonna see when you go to any type of business is how much money they make. Then you're gonna look at the setup. You're gonna look at the setup because that's the reason they're making all this money. You're gonna see the layout. You're gonna see the customer service. If it's a restaurant, you're gonna see the food. This is why they're making money. This food good. So you're not gonna be 100% there with your woman like that, like a regular, like a worker. He off work, and he once he off work, a worker, and him and his wife go to dinner. That's it. They just going to dinner. He not looking at none of that. He's off work. He's trying to relax. He's trying to cater to her. He's an employee. A hustler's not an employee. A hustler is a owns his own stuff or is an independent contractor. So even if a hustler got a job, a hustler don't look at the job like it's a job, like he's part of the company. The hustler look at himself as an independent contractor, and you paying me for my work. So even if I drive the bus for CTA for Chicago Bus Company, I'm gonna be looking at it like an independent contract. I'm driving this bus so y'all can make some money. Y'all gonna make this much money and y'all gonna give me this much. Y'all gonna pay me. I'm helping y'all make money and then y'all gonna pay me. So a hustler is the best employee because the hustler understand that the company got to make this money. So the hustler not gonna play at work. I'm not playing at work. I'm not missing work. I'm not messing up work. I'm hustling. I'll be at work every day. But I'm not gonna be thinking like an employee. I'm an independent contractor, which is what all you employees are. But you're making them think you're just a worker. No, you're an independent contractor. You're helping them make money. And if you thought like that, you'd be a better independent contractor because you know if they don't make no money, they're going to have to lay people off, including you. Because I'm a hustler. So when I drove, I loved Uber. Uber was one of my favorite. It was my favorite when it was new. Because it was when it was new, we was making a fortune out there. It was amazing how people was looking down on you talking about you an Uber driver, but we was making a fortune. And we didn't have to wait every 2 weeks for no check or once a week. You take your money out right then. You can't beat that. You can go make $50, transfer $20 to your bank account, and go buy something to eat right then. You don't gotta wait till payday. So now, if you're a hustler and you're investing in the businesses, and you can go drive for Uber and Lyft and get money to put into the business and flip the money in the business. Now you didn't flip that money. You didn't flip that same money twice. You didn't went. You done made $300 from Uber. You done bought $300 worth of merchandise. You done sold those, and you done made $1,500 in the investment money. So you got your $300 back from Uber and $1,200 because you just use it as investment money. So that means you're not going to get $300 and just throw it back to the system. You're going to drive Uber or whatever your hustle. You're going to take the $300, then you're going to flip the 300. That's a hustler. So, a lot of you all, that's where you're making a mistake. You got a job, but you need to look at that job as an investment and stop looking at it as a job. It's not a job. You need to make that money not be work money. Because work money, you go to work, you get your money, you spend it. You go to work, get some more money, you go home and spend it. And sometimes you paycheck to paycheck. But you need to be looking at that as an investment. So you need to go to work, get your money. Then you need to take some of that money and put some of that money to work. You got to stop letting that money come in and go right back out. Come in and go right back out. Sit your ass down so you be ahead of your bills. So now when that money come in, you can invest. Because ladies, you could be going to work, letting that money come in. You off Saturday and Sunday. Saturday you can have clients, and you could do hair all day Saturday and flip some of that money you made at work. And you got one day off Sunday. If you're a real hustler, you're doing that Saturday and Sunday. Why would you go get money at a job and just give it right back? Why won't you invest that and let that grow? So a hustler, we doing it all. If it's a cool neighborhood, we got the kids in the front yard with the chips and candy and stuff. They flipping money too. So you can give your kids $100. They can buy a bunch of penny candy and chips and stuff, sell it, give you your $100 back, and they got now $100, $150. Then they could do that every week and let that grow, and you got the original investment back. Now you're teaching them how to get money. You got to be a hustler. Some of you got two sons, one 13, one 15. Why you ain't bought them no lawnmower? And let them go out there and cut them neighbors' grass and get that bread. Next thing you know, by the time they get 21, 22, 23, they got a lawn service, they got trucks, they got all the equipment, lawn equipment. That's what the Mexicans be doing. You understand? You a hustler. And so you men, if you get the hustler mind state, that'll stop you from getting with a loser, some chick that just gonna go, 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 giggle, giggle, giggle. You can already tell. When you go out here, you got a job. If you ain't manage your money, you lose a job. Now you messed up. When you could have managed some money and you would already have something else to do. That's why I don't like weekends. I don't like black Americans. I don't like weekends. I don't like the way we deal with weekends. The way we deal with weekends is non-progressive. All we do is go into the system and get the money, and then we give a whole bunch of it back on the weekend. And we give away a lot of money on the weekend, but we ain't making a lot of money on the weekend. We just, you know what I'm saying? We ain't learning nothing from the system. The system, I have you go to your job downtown, right? You got the offices downtown. You go to work, but the system got everywhere for you to go buy your lunch, everywhere for you to buy clothes, work clothes. So they getting that money right from you as while you at work. They getting your money at lunch, and as soon as you get off work, they getting your money right back. Your money stay downtown. When the slaves they had the Emancipation Proclamation, they told the slaves would pay you. And what they used to do, you was go pick your cotton, and then you'd bring your cotton and they weigh it and they would pay you for how much cotton you got. But right there next to where they would weigh the cotton, they started having lemonade and sandwiches, stuff like that. So the slaves, that's no longer slaves, they freemen and women, would turn their cotton and stuff in, then go to the slave owner's wife or ex-slave owner's wife and buy sandwiches and so he get a lot of that money. You know what I'm saying? He making profits from the cotton. He paying you. Then he making profits for selling you sandwiches and stuff. Cause them sandwiches don't cost him what he charging you. So you end up walking away and he got all the money back. He flipped the money, paid you, and then had you buy something from him where he made profits. So he made profits off the same money that he paid you. So now you're gonna sell the cotton and make money. And he done sold you sandwiches and stuff and got a lot of his money back over here. So he had returned the cotton over here. He pay you over here, then he have you go over there and get him the money right back. That's exactly what they doing downtown. That's exactly what they doing at these jobs. They taking the money right back. And that's the reason the economy is collapsing right now. Because when the pandemic came, nobody could come downtown. And when nobody could come downtown, everybody had to start working from home. And then a lot of these companies, once they put them computers and stuff for people home working from home, they lost their office space because they couldn't pay office space for 2 years during the pandemic. So now when the pandemic was over, there you got to work from home. I know a lot of women here in Chicago, they work from home. So now she's working from home, right? So she ain't buying no clothes downtown. So all the clothes stores closed. They're not buying no lunch downtown Chicago. All the lunch places closed. Chicago looked like a ghost town. Why? Because they made their money from the workers. And now that the workers working from home, they ain't making no money. That's billions of dollars in lunch money gone. That's billions of dollars in work clothes gone. And so now women sitting at home dressed like this and got their panties on at the bottom, got their night slip on. This is all they got to have on. That's it. In case they got to go in to have a live meeting. But if they don't got a live meeting, they just be in their robe. They don't even have to have that on because they ain't even on camera. They just in there entering data at home. Ain't got to buy no gas, ain't got to buy no work clothes, ain't got to buy no lunch because she got food in the refrigerator. That's why all these cities, that's why all these stores and stuff going out of business. because too many people working at home. Ain't no money circulating like that no more. That's over with. If you knew how many people was making money on YouTube, you wouldn't believe it. For a lot of people, this is their job. They get up and talk all day and get the bag. Ain't got to be dressed from nothing to here down. I can have some pajamas or anything on right now. I could be sitting in my drawers if I want to. I'm not, but I could. This is all that matters. This is all you know what I'm saying? You get your money. It's the only uniform you need. Is this what? Let that sink in. What you had to pay for work clothes for this and that. For us content creators, we get two sets of work clothes for one, because all we need is the tops. We don't need no we don't need no nice pants on. For what? Nobody gonna see them. For what? You gonna put on real something real comfortable. You put your pajama bottoms on and just dress up the top and get paid. So now it's up to you how much you want to hustle. And the more you want to hustle, the more money you're gonna make. The lazier you are, the less you make. Shout out to Poetic Flacco. The man started dropping videos 7, 8 in the morning till the night. Constantly, bop, 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 bop. He just sit at home and get them ready, have them loaded. He be having them loaded already. All he got to do is put them out there. We don't love spending money there. We just putting gas in the car. So yeah, when I go to the gas station, I don't love going to gas station. We not thinking we love them. We thinking we putting gas in the car. We don't. We're not thinking like that. Like when you buy gas, you're not thinking that you love the gas station. Are you thinking that you're buying gas? So it's not really that concept like, oh, I love these, whoever own these gas stations. Because for many of us, when you go out in the suburbs, there's whites in the gas station today and Indians at night. There's only Arabs in the gas station in the black community and in the city. Like Chicago is Arabs at the gas station in the city, even in the white neighborhood and everywhere. It's when you go out to the suburbs, it's Indians and whites. But it's not because they love them. It's because they invested in bought gas stations. That's why the Arabs is there. Because they bought the gas station. Black people don't. Black people channel pick get a bad rap. The reason black people don't own gas stations in Chicago, because black people got as bosses already. Arabs come from third world type countries. Jamaicans and them people like that come from third world countries. So their mindset is get a store, get a gas station. But we foundational black Americans, we governors, mayors, city council, we work for the government. So we work in businesses. I had a Jamaican friend ask me that. He said, why you black Americans don't open up stores like we do? I said the reason y'all open up stores, y'all from Jamaica and y'all got little stores. We work for the post office. We work for the government. We work for IBM. We work for Blue Cross Blue Shield. We getting the bag. We getting big money. So when people say why black Americans don't own little stores and stuff, because we making way more money than that. We making big bread. We got 401ks with hundreds of $1,000s in them. We making more money than the store guy. They don't tell that part. We've already been entrenched in the system. We driving buses. We driving the L train. We police officers. We not from the third world. So I told my Jamaican brother that. He said, boy, I mean, never think of that. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, I got straight out of high school and I worked for the Treasury Department. I worked for the stock market. What gas station? I got straight out of high school. I worked for a book factory. I went to music college. And my next job, I worked for Exchange Place. I worked for the stock exchange. My girlfriend worked for Payne Weber or Merrill Lynch. I forget which one because they right by each other. One of them she worked for. So we be having big time jobs. So we not thinking on that level. And yeah, you got CDL and stuff like that. But when they ask me about the gas station, they more talking the old school. You understand? So that wouldn't apply to the younger brother. Because all them gas station stuff, that stuff happened like back in the 90s. But black folks already got like big jobs. Black people is detectives, high ranking detectives. Like my boy was like the fire department chief. He was a chief at a fire station. You know how much money he was making? He not think about. So the reason that they home in stores and stuff like that, because they come from third world countries. That's what you do there. We here in Chicago, we live in a major metropolitan city. A gas station ain't not really nothing that we gonna think about. Our kids ain't going to school to think about working in no gas station. My daughter didn't go to gas station school. She went to medical school. She a nurse. So nothing's gonna make her want to buy no gas station when she making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars at the hospital. Those is basically third world mentality type situations. Basically, I'm not saying the Arabs ain't making money. I'm just saying they come from a third world mentality. You know what I'm saying? They work at them jobs and then send their kids to get the jobs that we already been at. So they come in and get gas station stores, but when they make their money, where they send their kids? They send their kids to nursing school. They send their kids to a medical school. Their kids become doctors. Their kids don't become people that work at no gas station. So foundational Black Americans, we not thinking about that level. I already told you why, because they come from a third world country. If they come from a third world country, so they're gonna buy gas stations. We don't come from a third world country. We ain't going to school to buy no gas station. I already told you. Foundational Black Americans go to college and university. You don't go there to get no gas station. They just don't own gas stations. They own little stores and stuff too, because of where they come from. And we answered that. We're not sending our kids to school to buy gas stations. Like, what part of that part you don't understand? They buying gas stations because we don't want them. We don't want no gas stations. The government will fund the business, but I'm telling you, if I got a gas station, ain't no black motherfuckers gonna work there. Ain't no black people gonna work for my gas station. Tell me I'm lying. Y'all know some black people that'll work at a gas station and stand back there. Let's just think on a higher level. If I got a gas station, is there black people gonna stand behind that counter and take that money for that gas and sell that candy and blunts and stuff? Will black Americans do that job? I'm just asking you. Let me see who really black like that. Because ain't no black people I know are working there. I just to keeping it real. Ain't no black people gonna work in no gas station. Black folks, we been here too long. We different. We don't have the mindset of third world people. That's a third world mindset. Where they come from, they got little shacks and little things where they stand and sell food and they stand all day and sell sandwiches and stuff. We don't come from that. We've been here how long? We driving L trains, we driving buses and stuff like that. And we don't got that family structure. They got a family structure of a bunch of vagabonds all in one building and then they all go to work together. We don't live like that. We live, as soon as our kids get out of high school, get out of college, they gone. My son is not going to stay here and work in no gas station just because I bought a gas station. He's going to be like, Dad, I don't want to do that. He ain't going to do it. I'm still going to end up having to hire Arab that ain't going to want to do it because I own it. You ain't going to find nobody working on gas. The type of stuff that they do is because they come from third world countries. Like that's what I told my Jamaican friend. He said that make a lot of sense. Y'all from Jamaica. Y'all used to standing in little shanty looking restaurants and stuff. Y'all used to that. We foundational black Americans. We foundation. We big time. We governors and shit, mayors. Black folks downtown working at City Hall right now. The mayor's black. That's kind of like the lowest job in the hood. We willing to take it to be a teacher. So we don't got that type of culture. That like that. We don't have the type of cultural family that's gonna work at no gas station. If I buy a gas station, ain't none of my kids gonna work in there. I'm gonna tell you. They ain't gonna work. I ain't gonna be able to find no black people gonna stand up in there like that and work in that, like he know Arab or like he from Africa or nowhere. They ain't gonna do that. That's like a step down. It's a good thing to own it, but it ain't a good thing to work in there. And you can't own it if don't nobody want to work in there. I wouldn't buy no gas station because I don't want to work in there. Hispanics got a different culture. Hispanics men ain't standing nowhere. They going out and cut grass. They like to be outside. Hispanic men ain't standing there nowhere. You want somebody standing somebody, you got to get Arabs, Pakistanis, Indians. Mexicans ain't standing in nowhere. They got their couple of stores, but Mexicans getting their money with landscaping. They outside with trucks. They like trucks. They like construction, stuff like that. They ain't standing in there either. You ain't got no Mexican gas station. You ain't asked me about hustling. Okay, here we go with the dumb stuff. Now this man asked me why Arabs got the gas station. I told him why he got the gas station. Now he's saying nursing stuff not hustling. Now you even what we was talking about. Here we go. Okay. Here we go with the tomfoolery. Ask me one thing over here and now over here. You ain't asked me about hustling. Here we go with the tomfoolery. You asked me, I'm being polite, I answered you. Let's move on. I gave you your answer. Change the subject. Here we go with the tomfoolery. I answered the question. Those type of jobs are not the culture of black Americans. You didn't ask me no question about hustling. Like you didn't ask me nothing about hustling. You asked me about the gas station. Crazy. Like a lot of them have to block them because they're not really being A lot of them have to block them because they just want to be seen. So they're not really coming from the heart. They just want to be seen in the chat. So I have to block them. They're bad for the chat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I really didn't say everybody's hustling. I said, I'm explaining hustling. Yeah, and then see what they don't understand, G Rock, when it comes to foundational black America, they don't understand that when we came up here in the Great Migration, that was many, many years ago. That was my parents. So me and my sister, we not like my parents, you know. We came up, my parents came up here in the early 50s, in the mid 50s. So black people came from the South up here in the mid 50s. Now, when black people came up here in the 50s, G Rock, the whole culture changed with them, right? So when black people came up here in the 50s, the country was old fashioned too. They had them old cars and all that. So foundational black America has been here as Chicago upgraded. We was a part of the upgrade. We didn't move here when it's already upgraded. These Indians and all them, they moved here when everything was already upgraded. We was a part of the upgrade. I tried to tell this guy, but he not that smart, and he like to argue. He want to be seen. I gave him the game. You can't expect the people that's a part of the upgrade to act like the people that moved into the upgrade. All of these foreigners, they moved into an already upgraded America. So they had to pick a hustle that was still not upgraded that much. So that's why they picked gas stations and stores. We moved up to businesses, insurance companies. We worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield. We worked for the state of Illinois. We worked for the federal government. We work at major hospitals, stuff like that. So we was a part of the upgrade. People from India and them, and even some of the Mexicans, they coming in after the upgrade. So they finding jobs on a lower grade and going to get money. I ain't hating on them. They willing to get a store and stand in there. We ain't standing in no store unless it's a fine clothing store. We might work in there, but we ain't working in no supermarket. That's for Black Americans. That's 1950, 1960 stuff. When we came up here, the gas station had the little air hose thing, and when you run up, it go ding ding, and the gas station attendant would come and pump your gas. There wasn't no self service. When foundational Black Americans came here, there was one man in the gas station. That's it, and he pumped everybody gas. And they used to have the hose. You know the hose you put air in your tire. They had one of those, and when you run in there, if he in the back of something or he in the little garage part, you run over that, it would go ding ding, and he would come out and say, "What can I do for you?" He'd be like, put 10 on pump two, and give me a pack of Salem's." They had the cigarette thing right outside, a square box on a pole, and they would sell the cigarettes and put the gas in there. They didn't have no snacks or nothing like that. The first snack they had was a Coke machine where you could get out the car and go put your money in the machine, and the Coke would fall at the bottom, the bottle of Coke. The bottles was in the machine. I'm trying to tell this dude, but he's slow. He just be wanting to argue and just be want to block up the chat. I block him every day and go unblock him. And so when my daddy came here, my daddy got a job working on the train. Then he started working for CTA. Once he started working for CTA, they give you a raise every year. So by the time my daddy worked there, by the time I get like 16, 17, my daddy making big money. We got new house, Cadillacs and stuff. My mother came here. She used to work at Spiegel's. Spiegel's like a catalog where you order clothes. Then my mother went back to school up here. Then she started working for the city of Chicago. Then she went and worked for the state of Illinois. Then she took the civil service exam and she went and started working for the federal government. I'm trying to tell this dude ain't listening. My mother worked for the federal government. She worked at the draft board where they drafted people, and she moved up to the point she ran the whole Midwest. My mother was the boss of the whole Midwest. Because with the federal government, you are GS1, GS2, GS3, just like the military. It's a civil government. It's the civil part of the government, not the military part. So my mom was all the way up to like a GS25 or something. You know how much money she was making? I'm trying to tell him, so who gonna go get a gas station? See what I'm saying? That's a step down. Gas station? No. We going to school, we taking typing, we going to school, we doing office work. We working in offices and hospitals. I tried to tell them, we not standing in no gas station. That's a step down for foundation like Black Americans. That's a step up from an Arab or somebody from some third world country, but there ain't no step up for us. That's not a step up. Now, this ain't got nothing to do with hustling. I'm just telling you foundational Black American history. This is foundational Black American history. We became a part of the main thing. We became mayors, governors, senators, city council members. All my friends was bosses. All my friends ran the fire department. Top law enforcement and stuff like that. They getting a big bag like that. The big bag. That's all the stuff Trump trying to turn back for the next generation. We was doing too well, so he trying to mess it up. So that's why I told my Jamaican friend, because you came from Jamaica, so you look at a storefront and that, you look like that's an opportunity for you. That's not an opportunity for us. Storefronts for us is like 1960. You know what I'm saying? That's 1960. That's like the candy lady. We ain't on that. We done already rose up to car dealers. We have black car dealers already. We talk about successful Black Americans. Our kids going to medical school. They ain't going to pump no gas school. I'm trying to tell him he ain't listening. You can't tell nothing. My son in Hollywood, my son do animation for TV. He not gonna go and work in no gas station. My oldest son do animation for TV. They're gonna say blacks been behind. Most of the stuff they be saying they don't live in Chicago. Behind what? You know what I'm saying? Ain't no blacks ain't no behind in Chicago. I don't know what they talking about. I don't, you know what I'm saying? They just be making stuff up. Blacks in Chicago getting money, big money. All you got to do, come to Chicago, go in the hospital, see who you see in there. See who the doctors and the nurses and stuff is. Let's go in the hospital. Blacks is doctors, nurses, do x-rays, put casts on, putting casts on, lawyers. They don't, so they, you know how many lawyers? You know what I'm saying? They got to go to the courtroom and see all them black lawyers in there. You can't compare 50 million people to 200 million people. That's all false, Shira. How you going to, it's 50 million black Americans. How you going to, and it's 200 some million white people, like 4 times. So how we going to have as many companies? How 50 million people going to have as many companies as 200 million? You can't compare us to white America. Make that make some sense. Just be saying anything. You don't know what you're talking about. Maybe where you live at. White Americans remain the largest racial group in the United States with over 250 million people. Black Americans, 49 million. So 49 million is supposed to compare to 254 million? Seriously? I'm just saying. And then when you talk about today, when there's less jobs, of course things is weird right now with automation and all that. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there's less jobs when you do with automation and all that. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Like I told you, black people ain't doing gas stations because we've been here when the country started rising up. It's just that simple. What you're talking about is irrelevant. I never talked about how much money they made. I said black Americans came up here in the Great Migration and grew with the city. And the idea of a gas station is beneath where black Americans have went. That's what I say. Black Americans would have never looked to buy no gas stations. I'm telling you the psychology behind it. That's the psychology behind it. You can't expect people that came up here. My parents came up here in the 50s. All these Arabs came here in the 90s. We're not going to have their mentality. What I'm saying is 100% correct. How would we have their mentality? We've been here since the 50s. So we've been growing with the country. They coming in and they trying to find a spot. So they got storefronts and gas stations. We was way up here. Now somebody gonna tell me how much money they make. That's not the point I'm making. I didn't say gas stations don't make money. I'm saying foundational black Americans been here as the country grew And when we came here, we grew with the country. We went into medical. We went into insurance companies. Those are the jobs we went after. We went into the whole totally different job market. We police officers, firemen, stuff like that. We work for insurance companies and stuff like that. Hospitals, stuff like that. Things that grew with the country. When the immigrants come in, they had to look for jobs down here. Yeah, they made money, but they had to get storefronts and stuff like that. They had to get little storefronts. We ain't getting no storefronts. My mama didn't work. My mama was the boss for the whole Midwest for the United States Selective Service in the VA hospital. She was a GS5, the GS25 or something. You don't even know what that is. You don't, dude over there talking to me, you don't even know what a GS25 is. My sister's rich. Duh. My friends, listen, my peer group, they rich. They're making more money than these people in the comments could ever imagine. Okay, facts. My friends in City Hall, Alderman Sawyer. I went to school with his sister or his niece, probably his niece. I mean, probably his auntie. That's probably his auntie. I went to school with Cheryl. We got major positions in the country. We congressmen and senators. The mayor's black. Duh. The city council, a whole bunch of blacks. Duh. State government, blacks. Duh. Federal government, a lot of blacks. Trump's trying to get, why do you think Trump's trying to get rid of us? Trump's trying to eliminate us. He wouldn't be eliminating us if we wasn't there. Am I correct? He firing blacks in high positions. Racism. Yeah, I went to school with Cheryl. So that's why black Americans, like I said, my Jamaican brethren asked me that. He said, why y'all don't go down and get the permits and get the stores around here like we do? And I told him, I said, first, ain't no black Americans not home right now. They all at work. And I told him, I said, black Americans is getting the city jobs and state jobs and stuff like that. That's looking backwards. And when black Americans came in the Great Migration, America wasn't giving you no money to start nothing. They was giving whites money to get their homes and stuff, but they wasn't helping nobody open no businesses. And all these storefronts wasn't even there. All these storefronts and stuff is new. All that stuff is new. That stuff is younger than foundational black America. Just like the Mexicans came in and did all the landscaping. That's money, but we wouldn't have never seen that money. Because we ain't sending our children to universities to cut grass. This is just real simple. Yeah, it's making money, but we was already aiming high. We wasn't aiming low like that. We wasn't saying my son gonna grow up, he gonna cut grass. We sending our kids to school to be stockbrokers and to dealing with finances and stuff like that. We ain't sending our kids to cut grass or to work in no gas station. There ain't nothing we never said. What you want to be when you grow up? I want to work in the gas station. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'll be arguing with dudes. Go ask somebody to argue with you. I'm not wasting my time with you. Yeah, I'm not wasting no time with none of you losers. Like some of y'all's like girls. So you just want to be seen. I want to argue. I can't even check your file. I'm not argue with you. Maybe somebody argue with y'all. If you know a lot, go get you a YouTube channel. You saying what somebody should do, right? Some of these brothers are saying somebody we should get the gas station with, but they won't get a YouTube channel. They won't. You know what I'm saying? They won't. They won't go and do what I'm doing. No, no. A lot of people are just argumentative. If you say right, they'll say left. If you would have said left, they would have said right. It don't be. They don't be real, G. I've been doing this. Some people are professional arguers. No matter what you say, no matter what you say, they're gonna say the opposite. They ain't stuck. That's just what they do all day. That's what they do all day. And that's another thing with business. We don't do business with them because you'll never get past the first meeting. So if you have a meeting that some of these dudes will be coming here and you have a meeting to start a business, if we say we're gonna do the business like this, they'll be like, well, we can't do it like that. And you'll be all day. The first meeting with the losers that be over here want to argue, you'll be all day. Even if we wanted to buy a gas station, these same dudes that's saying get a gas station, that's argumentative. If you invited them to the meeting to get the gas station, they would argue and run everybody else away at the meeting. And you can't see them, so you can't check their file. So everybody's smart when you can't look them in their face. But most of them, when I meet dudes like that, they shrink. Cause now I can look at you and see, oh, you ain't nothing what you talking. Them ones argue with me, they ain't on nothing. I'm telling you, they got no profession, they ain't getting no money, they ain't on nothing. Cause ain't nobody that's out here busy getting money argue with me over nonsense. Those are failure. Those are people that's failures. I'm telling you, I've been outside. They got a demonic negative energy. They professional distractors. They ain't on nothing. If you watch them, they never those. If you write down the names of those, because I don't block them, I unblock them. You will never see them bring nothing positive. If you watch the ones that come, I unblock them. If you watch them every time they come, they will not one time come with an original, intelligent thought on their own. Everything they say will be against something. They ain't got nothing positive on their own. Everything is you say, man, we trying to go right. Why we can't go left? But they never make no suggestions. They never say nothing positive. Never. They ain't gonna never. They dark. And they ain't outside like that either. They ain't outside doing that. They ain't not outside with no men doing none of that. They ain't saying nothing outside with real grown men. They ain't out there trying to disrupt no grown man's conversation with that. The internet's a safe place where you can be whatever you want to be and you can be the smartest in the world. So hustling for Black Americans is on a whole nother level. So the brothers I know that be hustling, because I can back up everything I say, they got the good jobs and stuff, be hustling. They be doing stuff like they'll buy like 5 slingshots and a couple of exotic cars, and then they rent cars and slingshots. This is the hustling for the foundation of Black America. This type of hustling we on. They renting out slingshots and stuff like that, and they also buying them cars. They got the company where you can rent out your car. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give the people real knowledge. Right. So a lot of the hustlers that got the good jobs, this the hustle we be on. It's an upgraded hustle. Turo is one of them. So Turo, you can rent your own cars out. You know what I'm saying? Feel me? So with Turo, you can rent your cars out. This is where foundational Black America's hustles is at now. Build your portfolio and expand your earning potential. Average annual earning for one car 9,000, three cars 28,000, five cars 47,000 a year. So my friends they trying to get like 15, 20 cars. You know what I'm saying? And there's a bunch of stuff like this. That's the hustle when you got a job. You know what I'm saying? I'm showing you real hustling. You know what I mean? I can't go into details when you hustling. Don't tell nobody your hustle because your hustle is based off of exclusivity. So if everybody doing what you do, your money gonna go down. So I'm not gonna come over here and tell you, hustle that I might be doing because that's anti-business. That ain't none of your business. And then a lot of the hustles we got are anonymous. So you want to hustle, you could do anonymous hustling. They don't need to know who you are. And you never go and tell nobody how you make your money. Keep your mouth shut. Don't tell family or nobody. Only one don't know, your wife got to know or your husband. But you don't tell nobody else your hustle. You don't tell your cousins or nobody. Unless they're going to go in business with you, you don't tell your hustle because making money is about being exclusive and knowing the lick before somebody know about the lick. If you tell everybody the lick, if I live in Chicago and everybody want to buy vegan chocolate candy bars and I'm selling 10,000 every 3 months, if I tell everybody my sales gonna go down to 2,000, why would I do that? Why would I do that? So it's certain stuff I can't tell you. I can't tell you what I do. Another thing is if you show money, nobody will spend money with you no more. I learned this from some white dudes. They said, Farrell, the reason we wear Dockers and these little rubber looking watches and stuff, he said, because people stop spending with you if they see you got money. He said, because people got jealous hearted and got messed up hearts and they don't want to see you do good. So you don't never show nobody how good you're doing because then they're going to hate on you. They're going to want to ruin you. So that's why we don't be dressing up. That's why we don't be wearing gold watches. That's why we don't be wearing three-piece suits. That's why we just wear Dockers and a white shirt with the sleeve rolled up. You do not show your success. The only time showing your success gonna help you is if you're a rapper. If you're a rapper or somebody like that, showing your success work, because that make them support you more. Because some people like, he great like that. But other than that, in regular life, no, you don't. You know what I'm saying? So foundational Black Americans, all I know is here in Chicago, we hustle is different. Some of the brothers and sisters that cook, they doing private parties where catering, they catering party, they making a fortune. And then another hustle that I'm not doing that I might do, but I don't mind telling you, another hustle that's going on that's making a lot of money is you go and you get a space for like content creators. And so content creators can come and rent out their little booth and do their lives. Because some content creators making a whole lot of money, but they ain't got nowhere that's set up professionally. So what a lot of people is doing, they going, they might get like 10 booths, 20 booths. All of them come with the computer, the microphone, the decorations, everything. You pay a little fee. They could custom your decorations in your spot. You got to sign a lease if they do that. So you can rent weekly or you can rent yearly. You could make a year lease, and that's your spot, and you just come and do your lives, and people will think you in your own location. And everything is there, plus security. Security is there 100% when you not there, so you ain't got to worry about because all this equipment is ours anyway, and then we insure all that stuff. Something happened to your laptop, we give you another one as long as you don't spill nothing in it, because there's rules. You can't have no liquor or no drinks or nothing in here. It's equipment in here. And these studios that rent out, you can get from a basic one to a really nice one. Vegan desserts, vegan catering, vegan desserts. Because with vegan desserts, you can sell to all the vegan restaurants. You was 100% correct. You know what I'm saying? Follow me on Vegan Intel too, Gina. Yeah, with vegan desserts, now you can go to all the restaurants, sodas, vegan juices, drinks. You just got to go through. You just got to go through the necessary means to legally be able to sell food. Which reminds me what Gina's saying. Now, if she wanted to do that, the way I can make money is also another hustle is commercial kitchens. So I might got a building that's got like four commercial kitchens, right? Right. So I might got a spot that got like so many commercial kitchens, right? And now with these commercial kitchens, you able to come, right? And you able to use my kitchen because my kitchen already passed the state. See what I'm saying? So my kitchen is already clean and already up to standard of the state. So if you want to make salad dressing or whatever, now as long as you got your license, you can come there and make it, and it's done in a licensed kitchen that's certified clean because your water got to be a certain temperature and all that, right? And so then you're able to come to our kitchen, right, and make your product until you get enough place to get your own factory and your own manufacturing spot. So commercial kitchens is another real good hustle, real good. Commercial kitchens are real is a real good opportunity to make some money. Great investment because if you get a commercial kitchen, not only can you rent out. Let's say you got two commercial kitchens in a building. Not only can you rent them out, but you can also use them So now you got two businesses. You got the commercial kitchen and you got your business that you're making stuff in your commercial kitchen. So you got your own cookies or your own juice or your own salad dressing in your because you got a commercial kitchen. And then when you get through using it, you rent it out. So if you got a nice building, got two, because all they're gonna do is come in and inspect the water. Got to be a certain temperature. Can be they're gonna be looking for bugs and roaches and stuff like that. If it's clean, they're gonna be looking, make sure everything is sanitary. The city inspector gonna come out, and then he gonna give you a certificate, certified kitchen, certified commission, a kitchen, commercial kitchen, good money. A lot of upstarts are gonna come and use it. You got the big refrigerators. You got everything for them. All the blenders, mixers, all of the top stainless steel equipment there. All they got to do is pay you a small fee compared to how much money they make. And all they got to do is come, make their salad dressing, put it in their bottle, seal it, put it in the refrigerator, get ready to go, take it to their home, put it in their own refrigerator, and take it to the stores. But you got the place where they could actually do their manufacturing, where their production is done at. That's good money. Commercial kitchens is good money. I'm looking at that maybe next year, the year after. I'm looking at that. I gotta wait a couple of years because I'm gonna let my daughter run that. She in medical, she's in the medical, so that could be like a side hustle for her. That won't take too much time from her. Whether she gonna be working at whatever hospital or whatever she's gonna be working. But that's another good hustle. That's another good hustle. That's another really good opportunity right there. So you got to hustle. Hustling ain't got nothing to do with crime. Gangsters got something to do with crime, but hustlers don't. So don't get them confused. I had somebody come over here right now. He's like, talk about gangsters in the street. He ain't watching. He trying to talk about knowledge. He dumb as a rock. He don't even know what I'm talking about. He just see the word gangsters and hustlers. They took two times to know nothing. He went to go. Crazy. Hustlers is not a hustler is not illegal. I don't know what people be thinking. A hustler is not necessarily illegal. Hustling just means go fast. He's saying gangsters and hustlers started tripping. Crazy. Yeah, it just means go out and get it. Now you can hustle illegally and you can hustle legally. So he just thinking illegal. He think hustling just mean illegal hustling. But a lot of the brothers that was hustling and got arrested need to get money anyway because now you got dispensaries. And look how many men went to jail for what's now legal. Now people getting rich. Black men went to jail, then white men come in and do the same thing legal. Same thing happened with the numbers. Black men running the numbers go to prison. White men come in, it's the lottery, it's legal. Go figure. Same thing. Change the name on it, and now it's legal. Now you can go to 7-Eleven and play the lottery. Play the numbers. That's the numbers. The lottery is the numbers game. It's the numbers. You picking numbers. It's the numbers. Same thing. And that's where the gangster come in at, because you're running the numbers, and now you got to protect your money. So now you got to be a gangster sometime to protect your money you made from hustling. So that's where they overlap sometimes. Watch it from the beginning. That's all we've been talking about. Where you at in the video? What number you at? Because we have, you might not even be up to where we at. None of this is theoretically. All this is real. And hustle. I mean, illegal hustle is prostitution. Anything is anything. Selling pills, selling stolen car parts, selling illegal substances, picking up people and dropping them off without being an Uber driver or a Lyft driver. That's a hustle that people do. That's a hustle people do. I give a bunch of people my number, and they call me, and I take them to the store and bring them home, and they pay me. I'm not doing it as a cab or Uber or nothing. You have a question? Is there a website you have for vegan food and stuff like that? Because my youngest daughter doesn't eat meat at all. Where she live at? I don't have no. I'm not doing food, so no, I don't have no vegan food or nothing like that. But what city you in? I can direct you somewhere. What city? What city you in? Uh, yeah, yeah. If the law says illegal and you're moving fast, you know what I'm saying. But there's a lot of illegal hustles. You know what I'm saying. Basically, when you get money and you don't get the proper license, like doing, you know what I'm saying. Like one illegal hustle is selling plates. Selling plates is an illegal hustle. I know some women that make tens of thousands of dollars selling plates. They cook a bunch of food and then everybody come by and get a plate. But they're not really a registered kitchen. So it's what they're doing is illegal. They selling food plates, making tens of thousands, buying cars with that. Yeah, yeah, selling plates. Who is this? 566. Yeah, selling plates. Yeah, there's people making making hundreds of thousands of dollars, eventually millions when you add it up over so many years, selling plates. They got all our numbers, and when the food ready, they text us and say the plate's ready. And you get the text, food, and you go by and get your plate. Cooking it right in our kitchen. You can't really prove she's selling plates because she ain't got no receipts or nothing. There ain't no paper trail. You just walked in the house and walked out with a plate. They can't arrest you. You say, "What you doing with this plate?" Like, "Oh, this is my cousin. She said she was cooking. I came by, got some food." They can't prove there's no money transaction, and they only sell to friends or people they know. They don't sell to no strangers. But selling plates, you can make You can pay your whole mortgage and all your bills. You can pay all your bills selling plates. That's a big hustle. Watching kids, basically a daycare, but not legally. And all the neighbors and stuff come drop their babies off at your house, and you watch them all day, and they pay you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's good money. These people, they let you in the house so you can see their kitchen. They let you in the house. You go right to the kitchen and get the food. It's not like, yeah, these people, it ain't no mystery house or nothing like that. Yeah, it's not no mystery house like that. They selling the people that be in their house, they friends and stuff. So everybody know they clean. What city you live in, Copper? Because a lot of people, I'm wondering where they live at because it don't sound like they really live in a normal black neighbor, like around black people like that. Because the people that sell plates always have people in their house. Everybody know that. Everybody know their kitchen. It's not like a stranger. It's not like you could be a stranger and just go to her house and get a plate. You have to know them through some kind of way. So it's not like you ain't going to the door and getting a plate. You going up in the house to the kitchen and get your plate. So no, I don't know nothing about no dirty kitchens. Oh, okay, you from Montana. Okay. Chicago would be a culture shock to you. Yeah, I'm in Chicago. If you got a dirty kitchen in Chicago, you wouldn't sell nothing. You wouldn't sell no plates. And you wouldn't, because here in Chicago, by it being a major big city, it's easy for you to know 100 people personally here. So being in Chicago, it's easy for me to get 100 dudes together. I can get 100 dudes together to go do something with me easy here. That's not a lot of people here. Because it's like almost 2 million people here. Well, they saying just over a million. I don't think they know how many people really here, but it's a lot of people. So it's not that hard to get a personal clientele here like that in a big old city. This city huge, man. This city huge. So yeah, they in Montana, so they don't understand. But if you're in a small place, you ain't gonna make that. You probably won't do that well doing that. Typically in smaller places, 2.7 million. Thanks. I thought something like that. Uh, typically in a yeah, 2.74. Oh right. And New York got 8 million. That's why I'm confused. Yeah. So Chicago almost got 3 million people. I'm thinking about somebody else with the million. Who was that? That was somebody right behind. That was somebody else. Um, yeah, people sell plates make a lot of money. You make a lot of money just with your neighbors. Yeah, the Chicagoland area probably got 8 to 9 million. Yeah, if you take Harvey and all them, oh hell yeah. If you take Markham and all that, yeah, yeah. Which they say they Chicago, but yeah, people make a lot of money. Another thing, people make a lot of money. Barbers. That's not illegal barbers. Now we got people you go in their basement get your hair cut, or go in their house get their hair cut. When I grew up, it was a man named Mr. Wright, my daddy friend. He cut hair, but he wasn't no licensed barber. He was a CTA. He worked for the CTA. He worked for the same company my daddy worked for. And Mr. Wright cut hair on Saturday, all day Saturday. He'd be sitting in his basement getting a bag. He was getting a serious bag cutting hair. The babysitting. I know some. I know some 20-year-old girls. They getting rich babysitting illegally. They just watching the kids for the ladies on the block. And the way they making a lot of money is they got an hourly babysitting, right? So the way they doing their babysitting, they always open. And so let's say you're a woman and your boyfriend gets sick, you gotta go to the hospital. You can call them and drop the baby off and go to the hospital. You ain't gotta take the baby to the hospital. Man, they making bank. And they real good because they just love kids. So by the time the baby that went there once or twice, as soon as the baby get in there, the baby taking their clothes off, the baby already know where they at. the baby comfortable because the baby already know where they at. And then they got all the toys for the baby. They got it set up real nice. They watch babies or little kids. Yeah, these two ladies, and they got the 2 bedrooms, all made for the kids, the little bitty kids, and then the bigger kids, and they watch kids at the spur of the moment too. Not no hourly. Anytime you need a babysitter, you and your husband decide y'all want to go out tonight, call them. Drop the baby off, drop the kids off, go do y'all date. Then you call and say, we gonna come get them in the morning, or we finna come get them now, whatever. And they charge you. Mobile barbering is making money. Where they driving up, they doing the beauty shops too. They doing the beauty shops and the barber shop. Drive up, drive up. Then there's one I used to do, like security forces. It's the best. I can't say what I really call it. It's like security forces. And if you had a problem, then I would come with my team and um, work work the problem out without any violence. So I would come and, like, if somebody's stalking you, harassing you, somebody keep beefing with you, you don't want to do it. I had a company, we go and talk to them and make it stop. We did retrieves too. We did retrieves if somebody owed you money. I made a lot of money doing money retrieves too. So it's a whole bunch of hustles. A whole bunch. It's a lot. I also did unubers, meaning people I met through Uber. I had a card I get them, and I would go pick them up without Uber. So I had a rate. Well, I was Ubering, but it wasn't Ubering. You know what I'm saying? I made a lot of money with that too. Taking dudes to the airport, taking dudes downstate Illinois, like 2 hour drives there and back, and I pay you. It's what you gotta go to Champaign, Urbana. You gotta go to Springfield. You can call me directly. I'll come pick you up. I have flat rates because I got to drive 2 hours in, 2 hours back. So you basically paying for both trips. Even if I'm dropping you off, you still got to pay for me to drive down there and back. Exactly. No surcharge, just flat money. I had some like white gangsters was using that a lot. It's a white gangster that created that business for me. And then I just turned it to a business because they kept calling me. He was like, "Why don't you just come pick me up tomorrow? We don't gotta do Uber. Bada boom, bada bing. What are we doing? I just pay you, come get me. You know, if I call Uber, he said, if I call Uber, they're gonna send just anybody. They want you to drive." I was like, "All right, cool." And I took him. Then his friend wanted. Then his other friend. Then his other friend. Then his other friend. And they just had my number. They called me direct. I ain't had no limit. I'm charging. I ain't got no limit. Where you want to go? I take you to Florida, but you got to pay. You got to pay just like you got to pay Greyhound and now. They're gonna cost you some hundreds of dollars. I'm a charge, so when I get back, it was worth it. So if I got to drive 12 hours there, 12 hours back, you're gonna pay. You're gonna pay me what I think is worth for me to be gone 24 hours. It's emergency drive. They paying me good. They paying me thousands of dollars. They paying me thousands of dollars for long trips like that. I only did 2 trips like that. I did the other trip. What was that? I think it was like 4 hours. I think 4 hours there and 4 hours back. Most of them was like 2.5 hours. But I did do one all the way to a whole nother state. Well, I did two. I did one far, like 12 hours, 12 hours. I did the other one. That was, I think, was like 4 hours. See, I was making more. I was making more money. Yeah, you pay. You when you're a businessman, you look at what something. If it's ridiculous, then you charge ridiculous. There, everybody's got a price. So, what's your price? How much would you charge me to take me from Chicago to Miami and back? You're gonna leave me there and come back, but you going there and back. How much would you charge me? And that's on you to tell them. You got to think about, okay, this is 24 hours, so I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna have to get some rest, and I'm gonna come back after I get some sleep, cause I ain't gonna try to drive no 24 hours straight. And then you charge. Now, if you want me to take you from Chicago to Miami, it's gonna cost you some money, or you're gonna have to get on a train, or you're gonna have to get on a plane. You could get on a plane. So you can get on a plane for a couple $100, but if I'm gonna drive you, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you some stacks. It's gonna cost you some money. Yeah, it's gonna cost you some money. But these was people that had money. They had plenty of money. They don't want to get on no plane. So that's why they paying me. They don't want to get on no plane. Exactly. You charge 25 to 3 grand because they don't want to get on no plane. They don't want to get on a plane. They don't want to get on a train. For some reason, they want you to take them. I got that through this crazy guy. He was a gangster. He was crazy as hell. And one thing turned to another. I picked him up at Uber, but then he wanted my personal number. He was like, when I call Uber, I got to get somebody different. Is it kind of way I could pay you to just come get me? I was like, yeah. The first time he had me had me come get him, I had to take him like 45 minutes somewhere back. Then the next time, almost like the same thing. And then he was like, I gotta go to Southern Illinois. I gotta go to Southern Illinois. I wonder what happened to him. And we knew the same people. That's really what, because he knew a guy at the recording studio. I ain't gonna say no names. There was a recording studio, and he said, "Do you know so and so?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's where I'm going this time. Drop me off there." And I went and then seen my man at the recording studio. He's like, "What up, Pharaoh?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, Pharaoh's my driver now. You have any problems, just call me." Yeah, he was a gangster. He was crazy as hell, though. He was a gangster. Stopped dealing with him because he kind of tried to get a little gangster with me, and then I had to out gangster his gangster. So I think he had been drinking and he got a little gangster, and I got PTSD. So I was like, why you think I'm willing to pick you up? Duh. Who would know you're a gangster and pick you up? What is you crazy? Obviously my pedigree. You know, obviously it's something wrong with me if I'm gonna pick you up, punk. The hell, dude. You on your gangsterism out of 10, I give you out of 10, I give him a 5.8. I give him a 5.8 out of 10. Dude, I got 12 out of 10. He was a little boy gangster. I mean, he was an OG, I guess, for younger people. He was like a middle aged dude. He ain't really. He was just. He had issues, so it wasn't personal. He had like personality issues, so it wasn't really personal. He just had personality issues. And when I'm driving, I'm just quiet, so he didn't really know me. So it really wasn't his fault. He wasn't testing my gangster because he didn't know I wasn't doing no gangster stuff. I was just driving. I don't be doing gangster stuff because I'm not a gangster. I'm a hustler. So he couldn't really test my gangster because I'm not a gangster. I'm a hustler. He just he had problems. He had something wrong with him because he would be on his phone like there was something wrong with dude. He was little a little wacky. I would have still drove him. He probably felt like I didn't want to be bothered with him no more after I shoo wop to the boo wop. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He probably felt like, oh, he don't want it. You know what I'm saying? He probably went back to our mutual friend, got the studio, and told him, and he probably told him, "You did what?" That's probably what he probably went to somebody that know me from the music business don't know me as a driver. Didn't know me from producing like gangster rappers that y'all call them. So he probably went and told him. And if he went and told him, yeah, I told the guy he say, you told him what? Dude, you lucky. He probably told him, my man probably told him, you lucky. He must be changed. I know my man probably said he probably changed. He done changed a lot. What do you mean he changed? Bruh, what you say you said to him? Yeah, he changed a little bit. So he didn't call me back no more. But I never told him because we squashed it. I mean, I squashed it, so everything was cool. But he probably went to my man from the music studio, probably told him what happened, and my man probably scared him. He should have told him that he don't need to know all that. He probably scared the man. He was a little crazy, you know what I'm saying? He was all right though. I made a lot of money with him. But there's a lot of hustles. I got friends that do jewelry that don't have jewelry stores or stores, and you can go by their house. They'll make you a custom piece. I got friends that make clothes, but they ain't got no tailor shop, and they make clothes, and they make the best clothes. They the one taught all the dudes that's making the clothes for Gucci and Louis. My friend is the one that made that stuff. He the one designed that stuff. And then they took the brother from Kanye who learned from him. They all learned from him. So he made a lot of money. So there's a lot of ways to make money. Then I know girls that go professionally go on dates. No body fluids exchange, no sex, no kissing or nothing. But they'll go be on your arm to make you look good. But no prostitution or nothing like that. So I know a young lady got that business. She got like 7 girls work with her. I don't know if they still in business, but when she was, and they would professionally go on dates, so you would have a woman with you, but you could not approach them. You could hug them and give them a hug to make them look like your girlfriend, but they couldn't. You couldn't really act like they're your girlfriend. You couldn't kiss on them and all that. You could kiss their cheek for a picture, or if you like that. They had strict rules on what you could do and what you couldn't do. She made a lot of money with that, like an escort service, but really escort, not prostitution. She made good money. She had reasonable prices. She had some beautiful ladies too. She had black, she had Asian, she had Hispanic, she had white. They was fine. It was beautiful and real elegant. And if you want to go out on a date and not look like you ain't got no woman, you know what I'm saying? She made a lot of money doing that. It's a lot of hustles out here, but you just got to work hard and you got to be creative and you got to do good jobs with your clientele, whatever that might be. I know people that did took hustles and legalized before anybody thought about it. Like my boy. My boy was the first. He was the off road assistant, but it wasn't no real business. But if your car break down, you call him. He come out there, pull up in his van. He got jacks. He got everything. He got air pump. He got everything. He jack that bad boy up, plug up that tire, pump the air in it right there on the road, and you on your way. He got a van. Ain't got nothing. It's just a regular van. He was making a fortune. Word of mouth. He was getting paid. Worked right off his phone. So you could get your money. You just have to be professional and you have to pick your clientele. You can't just have anybody be your clientele. Soon as somebody act a fool and stuff like that, you just cut them loose. You want good, solid clientele, and you want to provide whatever you provide. It needs to be worth their money, and stay out of the gangster life because you're gonna get a million years. It's too much violence with the gangsters. You don't want to deal with the pimps. You're gonna get a billion years pimping too. You don't want to be no gangster. You're gonna get a lot of time. You're gonna get a lot of time pimping. They're not playing with pimps no more. You're doing at least 20 years. That's a fact. In some cases, you're gonna do 40, 50 years. I'm telling you, especially if you cross state lines with a prostitute. And you don't want to do no gangster stuff. You want to stay away from anybody that's pushing any type of violence, any type of gang violence, any type of group or individual violence. You young people, you want to stay away from that because that gonna go bad. I think so. I think so. It's classified as a lot of stuff. It's a lot of laws you break if you pimping. Yeah, they updated that. Why you think Don Juan quit and became bishop? Because it depends on what you did, what you're doing. I think trafficking and coercion, trafficking and coercion, 3 to 6 years in prison, fines 5 to 10,000, and you got to register as a sex offender. Oh, one so, oh, one so your life. Oh, you ain't gonna be able to be around no kids or nothing, boy. Boy, you gotta register as a, you gotta. I didn't know that part. Woo! Yeah, you gotta boy. Your life over. You ain't gonna be able to get no apartment or nothing. You're gonna be a registered sex offender. Now let that sink in. Boy, they not playing. They gave cash out life. Yeah, I thought they was giving people life. Yeah, yeah, they're not playing with that. The rapper from Atlanta got life. Yeah, they not playing with that. I thought so. They not playing with that. That's a low down way to make money anyway. That's too much. That's too scumbaggy for me. It's too much of a headache. There ain't no way. When the girls run, the women run off on you. Sometimes they end up getting on substance abuse, all type of crazy stuff. It's crazy. I don't know. I don't know how nobody deal with that. They said they often had kidnapping. Yeah, if there's any proof that you held her at any time against her will and all that, yeah, they'll stack. Man, Rosecrans, they'll stack them charges on you so high you'll never see light again. And then a lot of the gangs hate pimps. A lot of the gangs, they don't like pimps. I seen a pimp get beat up in the bathroom here in Chicago. I ain't gonna say no names. They ain't like dude. Yeah, that's not. Some men. When you start talking about doing stuff to women, it give them PTSD. They start thinking about their mama or their daughter or their granny. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like some of these dudes got women they love in their family that had like a bad experience. Man, they gonna hurt you over like they really. Yeah, you doing that. I seen it. I seen a man. They did this dude dirty in the bathroom just because he was a pimp. If it wasn't for one of the guys, they was gonna unalive dude. I kid you not. Yeah, man. They was like, we don't honor that. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to hurt dude bad, real bad. Yeah, that was horrible. I stay away from all them gangsters, pimps, gang members, all of that. I stay away. I stay away. I stay away from them. Yeah, I stay away from all the gangsters, uh, the dealers, all of it. I stay away from that whole crowd. And when I was in the streets, I was antisocial. It was just me, just one man. That's it. Because all that socializing gonna get you in prison forever. I stayed away from the gangsters, and I stayed away from the other hustlers. Because all you're gonna do is get indicted. You gotta do your dirt all by your lonely. That's why crime don't pay. Because if you can't do your crime just by yourself, isolated, you definitely going to prison. But the art of hustling ain't necessarily illegal. Hustling, it could be legal and illegal. Well, hustling is seeing something to take advantage and go. Like when I lived in Harvey, when you get off the freeway right there, that's I think 147th Street. No, that's Sibley. Yeah, I think that is 147th Street. So when you get off right there, there's a long place where you pull up like along the fence and stop where you turn. And in the summertime, you could sell water there. So when my wife's nephew moved with us, I bought a whole bunch of water and took them out there to sell water. Now they selling two, three, $400 worth of water a day. They ain't want to do it. All that money, they didn't want to sell the water. Some big ass boys want somebody to feed them and take care of them. Don't want to go get the bag. They ain't want to sell the water because they didn't have no business sense. You know what I'm saying? They had no business in. Not really, because here go the thing. When they start selling the water, they wasn't getting no money because, okay, if we go buy 4 cases of water, you sell them, we ain't giving you no money. We're going to go buy 8. None of us ain't going to get no money. We're going to go buy 8. We're going to buy 10 because the thing, but they didn't understand if we got up to enough cases, each bottle going to be much, much cheaper. So you can get the bottles down to where you paying, 10 cents a bottle. And then that's when you start cashing, keeping cash. And they ain't understand business. It's like you want to keep buying this bottle until you got crates of them for really, really cheap. And now you just getting rich. They was lazy. They was lazy. How you don't want nobody to see you out there making money? They was lazy. I would have went out there, but I was already getting money somewhere else. So I was busy. How you don't want to get no money? They didn't even live out there, so nobody out there even knew them. They was just lazy. They want their auntie because their mom had got sick, and their auntie took them because those were nephews, and they just didn't want to do nothing. And they never did do nothing for years. One of them passed away. I forgot. I think he got sick or something. I don't know what the other one had. He probably been in prison. I gotta ask. I gotta ask their auntie. They was stupid, man. Them boys would have had some serious money. Them boys would have kept selling them waters, and we got a whole bunch of them waters. Them boys would have had thousands of dollars in their pocket. But of course, a lot of black young men, they don't know nothing about business, so they ain't got no problem with. Man, it was a hot spot where you can't do nothing but make water. And back then, the police wasn't bothered. You could sell water all day. Them boys could have easily had 20, $30,000 a piece in their pocket. Easy. That's how fast that water was selling. But I wasn't giving them the money, and I wasn't taking the money. We was re-upping. We was buying more. 2 cases, you get 4. 4 cases, now you get 16. 16 cases, now you get, you know what I'm saying, 100 cases. Every time the price going down. Then when you get thousands of cases, then you sell them. Now you got thousands of dollars, and now you got enough money to put money in your pocket and buy that same amount for that cheap ass price. You don't just keep buying 4 cases, paying that high price for 4 cases. You stay on your money. This is hustling. You stay on your money until you can get it down past $1 a bottle. You want to get it down to penny, like 10 cents a bottle. Now you spend 1,000, you make 9,000. So if we get 1,000, right? Come on. I mean, you make 900. You know what I'm saying? You make $900 off 1,000 bottles. So you want to get thousands and thousands of bottles. So you got them dirt cheap. You want them. You want to get them down to 10 cent. So every time you sell one bottle for $1, that equals 10 bottles. Every time you sell one, that's 10 bottles. So now when you sell 1,000 bottles, now you got enough to buy probably 20, $30,000 bottles. Then you just cash out. Then you just cash out and keep that, whatever investment money it is, to get the 10,000 bottles or whatever you're going to get. You sell all the way, you sell them all the way out, then you go get them all again. And now you got a stack of money instead of a little bit of money, buy some, put a little bit to the side, a little bit of money, buy. No, you sit it out. We already feeding you, you got a roof over your head, and you sell them till you get so many that you can just sell them and just put the money in a safe. Money, and then when it's done, you just count it all, and you got thousands of dollars. And now you've saved your money, you've increased your profits, and you've saved your money. So we kind of say, okay, we got $50,000. Y'all worked hard. Here's 10,000 for you. Here's 20,000 for you. Here's 20,000 for you, and then this one we're gonna go recap. I didn't need no money. I was already making thousands. I wouldn't have took no cut until the second time. Then the second time, then y'all would have got me some money. They young, they didn't know. And I mean they could have sold them like crazy. It was a hot spot right up the freeway. Their auntie was ready to go. I bought her a van just for that. All they had to do was call her. We almost out. She drive over there, dump the new bottles, take the trash from the old bottles, jump in the van and leave. Dump them, leave, dump them, leave. Could have made a fortune. She dump them, take their money, leave so I don't get robbed. Real simple. If somebody in that area come play with you, remember the description of the car, tell me the description of the car, I'll go retrieve the money and eliminate the problem. Not by hurting them or nothing, just by telling them don't go over there no more. They'll believe me. They won't. They won't go back no more. A fortune. Oh man, it was a fortune. It was hot out there. It was a fortune. I'm talking about a fortune. Right there where you get off on 147 on the damn Rhine going south. When you get up to Harvey, a fortune. Some spots ain't hot. That spot was hot. I'm talking about the bottles gonna be flying. They're lazy, the young generation lazy. They ain't cut grass. They ain't. So when I came up, we cut grass, we shovel snow, we hustle. I've been hustling since I was a baby. I've been hustling since I was a baby. We would get up in the morning and go ask the neighbors, do they want their grass cut? Do they want their leaves raked? Like that. And make money and go buy candy and have us a party. We 6 years old, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. We making money. Seriously. So that's the deal. People mix up gangsters and hustlers. Gangsters be doing a bunch of criminal stuff, be going to prison forever. Hustlers, you could be legal. You don't have to be no illegal hustler. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be no illegal hustler. You know what I mean? So G's up. If you're outside, you're going to have to stick to the codes of the street or get the hell out the street. You know what I'm saying? Because, in the street, it ain't no rules in the street. You're going to mess around and go to penitentiary for some years. When you go to penitentiary, you ain't going to necessarily get out. So that gangster stuff, that ain't it. Hustle, legal hustling. That's the way to go. Legal hustling. That is the way to go. All right, that's that G talk. Victory.